What's it now? Episode 15, and for the first time in this series, and it's taken me 15 episodes to achieve this, we start the episode in the relegation zone. I mean, it's taken me a long time to achieve that, but at least we're here now. And also, you know what, that deserves a like, and you know, the more likes that you do, the more videos I'll make, and that is clearly a lie, because I'm making videos all the time, no matter how many likes you give me. I mean, the point still stands. Please like the video. I mean, it makes me feel better. In the last episode, we took on Bristol City away from home and lost by 3-0 for the second season running. It was one of those games which I severely regretted picking. I mean, let's hope I don't do that in this episode. Now, following that game against Bristol City, we took on Blackburn Rovers at home and finally secured our first home win of the season as Alex Samuel scored a brace either side of half-time to give us a 3-2 win. We went away to Huddersfield in the game after that and lost by 2-0. Will Smallbone secured the points in the second half with this late header. Colin Kazim-Richards scored the pick of the goals as we went away to Derby County and lost by 2-0 again. And then Hal Robson-Kanu once again scored against us to give Swansea a 1-0 win and to give us another defeat, which puts us firmly into the relegation zone. Now, following that game against Bristol City, I found out that Adebayo Akinfenwa has now made 175 league appearances for Wycombe over his career, and I have to say he's been a brilliant player for me so far. The fact that he's allowed every other team to win the match because he won't put the ball in the net. Look, Adebayo, I know it's Christmas and all, but there's no need to be that charitable. Also in that game against Blackburn, I tried to make a substitution where I took off George Moncur because he was injured for Jason McCarthy when we were 3-2 up, and somehow George Moncur managed to play centre back and be on the bench at the same time. Man, what a signing I made there. That boy could do everything. And for the first time, I believe, in this series, Alex Samuel got player of the match and then was named in team of the week for the first time. 15 episodes it's taken for that to happen. 15. And do you want to know how he celebrated? He managed to get injured in training for 3 weeks. Which also coincided with us not scoring in the 3 games that he missed. Also because I was playing Akinfenwa up front, who, as we've mentioned many a time in this series so far, is he just doesn't score. Honestly, I'm close to renaming this series from attempting not to get sacked to Road to Akinfenwa scoring a goal in the Championship under Proudy again. Although I don't think that rolls off the tongue just as well. The media were also reporting that I have a bit of a selection dilemma because Alex Samuel's injured, and that is true actually. You know, I've got Liam Cullen, who just doesn't score for me that often. I've got Zach Clough, who I found out was very bad after 3 games of playing for me, and Adebayo Akinfenwa, who doesn't seem to know what his job is on the football pitch. Although, to be fair, Adebayo does have 5 pace. I mean, I've seen Milk turn faster than he does. And the injury started racking up as Trevor Clark then pulled his knee ligaments and then was out for 3 weeks. Although, saying that, I mean, the injury doesn't really affect me as much as Alex Samuel, so I'm not really caring that much. I've also finally decided after 15 episodes that I've had enough of my assistant manager and then proceeded to sack him. And when I asked the board if they would increase the assistant manager's wages, because at the moment I can't find anyone who's actually good enough for this level of football, they rejected it. So I decided to make the most of what I had in terms of wages and brought in Wayne Routledge. Not really the sort of person you were expecting me to hire, were you? I mean, whatever happens on this series stays on this series. Martin O'Neill, who's probably one of Wycombe's most famous managers after Gareth Ainsworth, said that he was very proud about how I was doing at the club. I mean, that was quite good wordplay by me, I think. But obviously that credit went a long way because then he battered my team 2-0 in the league match, so the mind games are real there. Now, I am pleased to announce a new signing that we have made, and I had to wait until he was match fit because he actually joined the club when he was injured, and I didn't really want to announce him at the time. And I've decided to raid Queen's Park Rangers again and bring in Nico Hammer-Lyon, a left-back who is Finnish, and he's an international as well, which is quite handy for us. And he's just a better all-round player than the 2 options I have at the club at the moment. But I have managed to bring him in for the entire season, and I hope to actually use him quite a lot this year because Joe Jacobson isn't very good, Trevor Clark isn't very good, and I haven't really got any other options to play left-back. And also, I've got faith in him being a good signing because I never make bad signings. So after I signed Nico Hammer-Lyon, the media said that he should be dropped from the Finland squad immediately. The Proudy effect strikes again. Also, in that derby match where we lost by 2-0, apparently we were fined £5,000 because we picked up 6 yellow cards in the match. I have to admit, that is probably the most impact we've had on the game all season. It shows you the lack of confidence I have in my strikers at the moment because Liam Cullen has now gone 7 games without scoring. So at the moment, out of the 3 strikers that I have at the club, one of them is injured and can't play in the next match against Peterborough, one of them hasn't scored in 7 games, and one of them hasn't scored in 21 games. I mean, who do I pick? And before someone says strikerless, do you realise the situation I'm in at the club? It's really difficult to play strikerless. So Adebayo Akinfenwa came to me and said that he wants to retire at the end of the season, and I've asked him to reconsider it, and I'll find out in a week whether he's going to reconsider it. But that will be after the Peterborough game, so you won't find out until next episode. And to be honest, if the bloke retires, we got absolutely no chance of actually doing anything in the series. And now we move into our game against Peterborough United at home, and this is quite a huge game for us this season, and I feel like every other episode I'm going to do this season is going to be the exact same thing. But I have decided to drop the 4-2-3-1 formation and drop the wingers goes back to play in a 4-4-1-1 formation. Nico Hammerline makes his debut on the series and takes his place at left back, with Ryan Tafazoli and Josh Knight being our centre backs, and Jason McCarthy coming in on the right side for Osman Kakai. George Moncur and David Wheeler have been trusted to be our wingers in this game, while Dominic Gape and Lewis Ferguson will be our central midfielders, with Nick Freeman playing in the number 10 role behind Adebayo Akinfenwa, who has now gone 22 games without scoring. Honestly, if this team does not win this game, we are in big trouble. Yet another thing I'm going to be saying in every episode as well. The first thing I noticed when I looked at the team sheets is that Uche Piazzu wasn't in the first 11 and wasn't on the bench. And then when I went to go and check his profile, I found out he's out for 4 months with a dislocated shoulder. Great, just can't even take on my former players now. And hang on, I found out he scored the same amount of goals in the Championship for Peterborough than he did for me in 19 less games. Oh, this game must be broken, I swear. We managed to fashion our first chance of the game after 4 minutes, and some good play down the left-hand side, and we were knocking the ball around really comfortably. Saw Hammerline run down the left wing, put a ball into the box, and David Wheeler headed it over at the far post. It was quite an encouraging start for us. Well, I mean, it was until Hammerline then got injured after 23 minutes and he had to be subbed off. I mean, great debut that is on the series. Later on in the half, we did fashion another chance, and Nick Freeman laid the ball for Lewis Ferguson, who then drove at the Peterborough defence and fired a great shot wide from 25 yards. Once again, pretty encouraging start for us. And then David Wheeler tried to find Adebayo Akinfenwa, but unfortunately the ball found its way to Christian Pym. And then I thought to myself, there's not really much coming of this. I don't know why this is a highlight. That was until the goalkeeper then launched the ball over the top of my defence. Ryan Tavazzoli managed to miss the header. Mo Isa was through on goal and then fired it past Ryan Allsop. 1-0 Peterborough. That was their first highlight of the game. Honestly, this team's defence is getting on my nerves. Sorry, I shouldn't be saying this team's defence. Is my team that I created. That boy Mo Isa was then involved again as Jason Naismith got a ball into the box on the right hand side, and Mo Isa then had a shot saved by Ryan Allsop. Nick Freeman was involved again as he laid the ball off for David Wheeler, who managed to escape his man and fire a shot at Christian Pym, which he well saved and put out for a corner. I mean, the goals are really hard to come by, and we really need to be putting these chances away, because I know Peterborough are going to punish us at this rate. And talking of that, Nick Freeman then got some space on the edge of the box and fired a wild shot wide. And that was half time, and I was fairly encouraged. We were only 1-0 down, but Peterborough didn't really threaten us that much other than the goal that they scored, and you know, we had more chances. I mean, we can definitely come back in this match. But then saying that, I did throw the water bowl at half time and said to the team that they need to be a lot better in the second half. I also changed some of the tactics around, and I told my team to play a higher line because we need to press Peterborough and actually get some goals against them. And those tactical changes were a masterclass, as within 30 seconds of the restart, Harrison Burrows managed to find himself free at the back post to fire it in to make it 2-0. Oh, this game is really difficult, isn't it? George Moncur then put a terrible cross into the box, and Christian Pym made another save. And I thought to myself, they've scored a goal from this before, surely they can't score again. Oh, look at that. The ball's gone over the top of my defence. Mo Isa's through on goal, 3-0. What are we doing? What are we doing? I decided I had enough of Akinfenwa not scoring and sent on another misfiring striker in Liam Cullen. But there was one striker on the pitch who wasn't misfiring, and he managed to complete his hat-trick a few minutes later as Harrison Burrows played him in, and he fired it past Ryan Allsop to make it 4-0 to Peterborough. Honestly, how much lower can we go? But it wasn't all doom and gloom in this game, as Alex Patterson, who came off the bench, found David Wheeler with this fantastic ball, and David Wheeler fired it past the keeper to give us a consolation goal at best. I mean, it could be a comeback. No, let's be real. Like, it's me in charge, so there's going to be no more comebacks. And my defence were at 6s and 7s as Ricky J. Jones then ran through on goal and fired it wide when it looked easier to score. And just when I thought we would get some reprieve, Jason Naismith played a long ball over the top for Harrison Burrows to then add a 5th. Bloody hell. And then a couple of minutes later, Nathan Thompson got some space down the right-hand side, play a long ball over the top once again for Mo Isa to add his 4th and make it 6-1. We're 6-1 down to Peterborough United at home. I have never conceded 6 in a live comp game, and look what's happened. I mean, that's probably a lie, actually. Lewis Ferguson then played in Liam Cullen with 5 minutes left on the clock, and he fired it past the keeper to make it 6-2. And then Clark Robertson played a long ball over the top, and Mo Isa fired it in, but he was disallowed for offside. I mean, lads, I think I missed a memo where Mo Isa was named as the best footballer ever to have played the game. And thankfully, that was the last highlight of the game. We'd lost 6-2 to Peterborough at home, a team that just got promoted last season. I genuinely did not think we could stoop any lower. And look where we are again.